This is the Pig Trail.
Athletics is not important right now. What is important is a very serious public health issue, and we need to do our part in college athletics to help our country make sure that this coronavirus does not spread, and that's what's important.
All activities in SEC sports suspended through April 15th. Let's go back to Thursday, the day after Arkansas beat Vandy 86-73. The rest of the tournament canceled. Only 2 games were played in this tourney. On Wednesday, Georgia beat Ole Miss, and the Hogs picked up their 20th win of the season. And the win over the Commodores, Commissioner Greg Sankey met with the media just before 12:30 Thursday. Later that afternoon, the NCAA canceled the men's and women's NCAA tournaments and also canceled all winter and spring championships. Mike Irwin, Alyssa Orange with me right now, and I just want to go back to that because let's start with Wednesday. I was doing some live shots about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and that's when I got that eerie sense. It really started to set in that things are really changing, and I knew at that point, a lot of people knew that Thursday there would be no fans in the arena, and then at that point, we're like, all right, it changes, obviously, Thursday morning. I mentioned what happened in terms of the tournament being canceled, but Alyssa, your takeaways from that?
Well, it was hard to wrap your head around at first, like, there's no way that they're going to cancel the whole entire NCAA tournament. And then the NBA suspended play, and then after that, it kind of came a reality.
Yeah, and the big jump was when I think a lot of people were willing to accept no fans, but then when you start saying don't play at all, everyone started to go, whoa, what's that all about?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the fact that we did hear from DJ Williams this past week, and this is really key when you look at how each person is viewing what is going on in our country right now.
Yeah, I called DJ Williams on Thursday because he can kind of see this through a lens of an athlete and what it might feel like to have sports taken away just like that.
I think it is a wake-up call to a lot of athletes that sometimes almost feel invincible. You know, we're young, have really good immune systems, healthy. If we ever do get sick, we usually bounce back pretty quick just with a bottle of Gatorade, just getting some fluids. But I think with Rudy Gobert's situation, an NBA All-Star in his prime, healthy as healthy can be, to test positive for the coronavirus, it almost made everyone be like, wow, this doesn't just affect the immune compromised. It doesn't affect the just elderly. It affects everyone. It's very unfortunate. I think it's a good step in the right direction. I think people really need to sit down and educate themselves on ways to prevent this. I think it may help with the whole fear factor. And so hopefully everybody pays attention to scientists and what they're saying.
Yeah, I appreciate what DJ's saying, but you go back to, you think you're invincible as an athlete. You also realize that things can be taken away so quickly, and I think that's the message a lot of the coaches at Arkansas are giving their teams of don't take things for granted.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert gets the coronavirus, Donovan Mitchell as well. When you see some of these things going up on the bottom line, watching ESPN, Mike, what do you think?
Well, again, I think people were wondering, why do you have to stop games? Well, because somebody on a team gets it, and then all of a sudden you realize it can be a real problem, even having a team together, and that's why we are where we are. Now, what I think a lot of people are looking for now is we've made these major changes. I mean, schools now are let out. All kinds of changes have been made. Now we're all going to sit back and say, does this work or does it get worse? And that's the part where we don't know yet.
He talks about teams. You look at the Baylor baseball team who had to self-quarantine because they came into contact with TSA officials during a trip back and who had tested positive for the coronavirus. And so the Baylor baseball team having to self-quarantine. So that puts it into perspective even more.
MLB, the Marlins just shut down their entire complex. So that's how it continues to hit across the nation. All right, Friday we heard from Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek. So more from Yurachek right now. He met with the media on campus at 4:30 that day. The same day he strongly criticized the way the NCAA moved to cancel spring championship games and tournaments, making the announcement Thursday. Some of those championships are as far off as June. Yurachek told 103.7 The Buzz he did not like the timing of the decision and lack of communication.
Would have liked to have the opportunity to do was to discuss those decisions with our coaches and then with their student athletes, and that they find out from the right means, not through social media. And I don't have a great solution for how that could have been delivered better, but I know there's a better way to deliver that message than for me to find out when I landed back from Nashville yesterday and for my student athletes and our coaches to find out.
That's the world we live in right now as far as communication. But Alyssa, you and Mike were over there on Friday, so kind of take me inside what you were hearing there collectively from that press conference.
Well, I think first and foremost, he's absolutely right. Even Greg Sankey was thrown off by the commissioners for the NCAA, their decision. But when you talk to Hunter Yurachek, and what we really took away was that he understands that this is for the health of everybody, but he also knows that there's going to be a lot of things they're going to have to go through, especially with students and their eligibility, with football, with revenue, with ticket sales. All those kinds of things are going to be factors that are a ripple effect of all these decisions.
One of the things we also learned going in, we were thinking, well, maybe they just put this all back a month. Maybe the SEC is going to start back up, because we knew that other conferences were canceling everything. But we walked away from that press conference less encouraged by that, because Hunter Yurachek did say this is going to be difficult to start it back up. He didn't rule it out, but I wouldn't, if you're a fan of Razorback baseball or the other spring sports, I would not assume that it's going to come back this year.
Yeah, just in terms of trying to come back. Yeah, trying to come back and gear up, and as he mentioned, piecemeal the season together some way, somehow. Yeah,
well, he quickly said, a little bit baseball, or do you give these guys their eligibility back? Right. And it almost seemed like he was leaning towards that year of eligibility back.
Absolutely. All right.